So we are back with Sylvie Sinclair, who just read an awesome excerpt from This Marquess of Mine. And one of the things that really I loved about that was this feeling of the banter, and they're, like really going for this like kind of like, ugh, we're enemies vibe, but
Mhm.
they both clearly have full feelings for each other. And it also was giving me a little bit of the Darcy Elizabeth Bennet, there's a lot of misunderstanding going on. So, can you talk to me a little bit about where this story started and how your stories typically come to you?
Oh gosh. I dialogue is just where I feel I come alive the most. The other stuff is necessary, setting the scene and all of that, but dialogue for me is just, I love it. So if books could just be all dialogue, I would have 30 books out by now, probably. I just love it so much. So I really think that when I'm thinking about plot, that's a lot of where I come from, is I'm really thinking, what gets me excited? What interactions between the two mains are going to really get my creative juices flowing? And that's really sort of the precipice for a lot of my plots, is starting with those little nuggets of I love banter. I know not every book can have banter, but I love it. And so I really think that's kind of where it started. And you meet Olivia and Griffin in book one of this series, and you can tell there's some history there. They're never cruel to each other, but they're definitely pick at each other. And so yeah, I kind of threaded that through the first book, sort of hinting at what terrible things I will do to these two characters to get them to come together. So in this book.
Yeah, well, one of the tricks of dialogue is to have the character saying something, but then to explore everything they're not saying and why they're not saying it and all that yummy goodness. And you really achieved that in this scene.
Oh, thank you. I do think that's can be challenging. It really is challenging, but it's really fun to sort of thread or sort of say things, convey something when the character is saying the exact opposite. I find subtext, I just think that is delicious. I love good subtext. I love to
Oh,
read it,
yeah.
I love to write it. So,
Yeah, and one of the things that was really grounding this scene was the physical things that Olivia was interacting with, like the jewelry and the fans, which you mentioned, like, in this universe, people come to that store specifically to buy those fans. Are those grounded in research that you've done?
yes, I love Regency or any historical accessories. If I had all the money in the world, I'm sure I'd have a whole house of just antiques and fashion. Not that I'm a fashionable person, but I love to look at beautiful things. And I just think the Regency had some of the most amazing accessories. Just, I would love an accessories room of just Regency. So yeah, a little bit of research went into that. I I do love making characters touch things. I find that very helpful in conveying, again, with subtext, in sort of their body language, conveying what they're actually feeling, even if their dialogue, their words are the exact opposite. So I do like to use setting in that way. It feels very intimate and like it can convey a lot. I really like doing that.
I remember in an acting class I took in middle school, they showed us a scene from High Society with Grace Kelly, and they were pointing out to us how she was having this dialogue with someone, but the whole time she was moving a handkerchief through her hands. And they were like, pay
Um,
attention to the handkerchief. That is how she's expressing her emotion.
Oh,
Uh,
fascinating. That's
so
such a cute
that's,
movie. I'll have to look at that scene
yeah,
to
it's a great
really.
movie.
It's
Oh
a
my
great
gosh.
movie, yes. I love old movies.